Yeah, I think is they've come in very, very cleverly, come in and just use that idea of they're trying to increase their social license by harassing the local community, um, to create divisions. So if they know that they've got someone who could potentially work for them or give them information that will help them advance their gains with extracting on the land, they will use that to their advantage. And similarly, if there's land that's owned by locals that they need to acquire in order to make their business profitable, they have a campaign of harassment and persistence that just it's from what I know of is just incessant. And so when you've got people who are going about their daily business and they've got their own family issues and there's already stresses there, and then you've got this unrelenting massive corporation who don't care about your own family strains or stresses, who will hit on weak points, who will incessantly harass and hassle and cajole and harass until, potentially you crack and go, just, you know what, fine, okay.
Welcome to the Save Our Sperrins campaign, Voices from the Frontline. I'm Marella Fife, your host and a member of the Save Our Sperrins team. At the heart of this struggle are the voices of local people, farmers, families and young campaigners whose homes, work and families are rooted in this place. Their voices are joined by supporters from across the world, standing in solidarity, from professors to artists, from those offering vast expertise to those whose presence alone is an act of support. All have stood with us. In this series, we share stories of resistance, resilience, and hopes from those determined to protect these mountains, their land, their rivers, the very air they breathe, and their community. Let's get started. Emma Conway is the founder of Sperrin Soul Forest School, just a few miles from the proposed mine site. A mother of two and a lifelong lover of the wild, she's building a place where children can belong to the woods, learn from the seasons, and grow up feeling at home in nature. But this is also a community where the proposed mine has brought deep division within families, between neighbours and across generations. Conversations about the land's future are often tender and sometimes painful. Emma has been navigating these realities close to home while still choosing to build something rooted in care, connection and hope. Today we're talking about what it means to hold love for family in place while standing in different truths, and how the practice of forest school can help us reimagine care for land, water and each other. Emma, welcome to the podcast, and it's great that you've come here today. Thank you very much, even though it's been a stormy time and perhaps you've had to shuffle things around to make it here with your children, but I'm so delighted that you're here. And
thank you for having me. It's absolutely wonderful to be here. A pleasure and a privilege to have been asked to contribute, so thank you.
Emma, before we get into things, could you introduce yourself in your own words? Who are you and what's important to you?
Okay, so I'm Emma Molam, was Conway, from Crock in the Sperrins, just outside Greencastle, between Greencastle and Brockderrick. That's where I was raised. And there's so many things that are so very close to my heart and very important. But for me, my home place, preserving my home place and just having that sense of connection with the land and honouring our ancestors and making sure that we preserve it for future generations is the utmost importance to me. So yeah, educating people, education's important, but not in a teaching way, in a allowing people, bringing people together, facilitating it more than directing. and working with the land, being creative always. I'm really into my arts and crafts, but really more so in more recent years, environmental art, so sustainable art, not just using plastics and acrylic paints and acrylic glues, PVA glues, just getting into natural processes that will break down and return to the earth. More recently, getting into natural dyes and pigments and creating with wild clay. So yeah, I'm very much into all of that sort of thing, but providing opportunities for people, old and young, to do similar, to really connect with the land and with the environment around them, and to be as creative as they can in a really sustainable way. So yeah, that is very important to me.
I've been a long time admirer of environmental art, and perhaps in a different life, I would have been up to something similar. I like the large scale things done out in nature, and just it fires me up. So I get where you're coming from on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Emma, you spent some time away before moving back. What was it that drew you to moving back to the Sperrins?
Okay, so I suppose what took me away in the first place was feeling a little bit claustrophobic, living in the bogs in the middle of nowhere, with my nearest neighbours being a mile away, but having had the most idyllic childhood, but getting to the teenage years of thinking, gosh, there's something, I'm missing connections here. I need fellow weirdos. I'm a bit of an outlier in terms of being a wee bit creative, a wee bit zany. Like to live in my own wee world a little bit, and would have been around the ditches and the hedgerows and just exploring in nature and making things. But I suppose I went off to university and did my arts degree, and then turned to teaching. I was teaching in just outside Leeds in Yorkshire, and the Yorkshire Dale's an absolutely stunning place. It was always out and about. I mean, there's lots of places to explore. It's absolutely wonderful. Made some really wonderful friends there, but just that call to come home. I did a bit of travelling, took a year out of teaching and went travelling, and saw different parts of the world. And I don't know, just the more I travelled, I went to South America, I went to New Zealand, was in Southeast Asia. I just kept finding similarities with home, with the wide open, unspoilt landscapes, the cultural traditions, the heritage. I thought, I want to immerse myself more in my own home place. Even when I was at university, I would have done a lot of projects on, the Ogham stones, standing stones, and ancient megalithic sites like Beckmore, which is stones throw away from us. With pun, and Davit Forest as well, the dark sky reserve, because where I grew up, the sky was completely dark. So you didn't get that in Yorkshire. You didn't get that in other parts of the world. I thought, home, I miss it. And I suppose as you get older, you have that appreciation and longing to kind of set down your roots. And there was no more precious and important to me than to come home and to set those roots down. So yeah, it was kind of a trial period after travelling. I have me and my partner at the time, and his mum's from here anyway, so he's half English, half Irish. But yeah, he was actually the husband who suggested that we moved home and stayed here, and that's what we did. And we planted our feet in the Sperrins and thought, oh, this is the most beautiful place in the world. Why would we be anywhere else? So yeah. It's an ideal place to bring up kids.
It is. It seems like some of the values which are important in the world still exist here, and perhaps in other parts of the world that's not so obvious. And the pull of home, I did a bit of travelling in the past myself, and the pull of home is always there at the back of your mind. You've now got 2 children, is that correct?
I do, yeah. 2 little girls, 8 and 6.
And how has it felt raising your children here in the same community where you yourself grew up?
I don't know, it's been a complete privilege. It's been a dream, really, because as well as having pretty much exactly the same landscape and backdrop to their childhood, the kind of wild childhood. They've got the grandparents here, and we've got family and connections here, and there's those familiar spaces that you would have spent as a child that then you're like, right, I have to take them here. So, for example, I mean, for us, seasons and seasonal appreciation and exploring and kind of tapping into what's happening and investigating things in nature is really important. So when this time of year, when the hazel trees are dropping all the nuts, I'll take them to the places that I would have went or would have been shown by my uncles and parents and grandparents as a child, and aunts even. So, places around about here, like up in Glenlark, up in Honeyglen, there's a few hazel groves about, and that would have been the first place that we would have went to pick the hazelnuts.
Yeah.
It's just even the smell of the earth. This is my favourite time of year. Autumn is just the smell of the leaves just around the mosses, everything just brings the nature alive, really. But yeah, getting the kids out to places that we'd swim. We spend the summer at the lakes, watching lakes.
Yeah.
Or different old swimming pools, hidden unknown swimming spots, little wild swimming spots that, are tucked away in the mountains, little waterfalls and things. And yeah, it's dreamlike. It couldn't be better, really. You're taking them to places that were really precious to you as a youngster, that you're then getting to share with them, and then seeing their eyes light up and seeing their wonder and enthusiasm, and then for them to turn around and have friends around, or even at school, pick things out of the hedgerow and show them to their friends and identify different plants and berries and offer them up, say, a bilberry, and go, oh, you can eat this. Try this. Or picking a haul from the bushes and going, yeah, you can eat this. This is our Irish avocado. Have a try at that. Yeah. And you're having your kids do that. You're not doing it. And they're sharing that. It's gorgeous. Or even picking the shrubs, what we call them shrubs, sorrel, off the ground and offering them to their grandparents. Some's nearly shoving it in their mouth. Go, try it, Granny, try it. It's so bitter. You'll love it. She's like, I know what that is. I used to eat that myself. Just, really precious.
That's great.
Connection, yeah.
And how have things changed about the area since your childhood, or well, you've kind of told me what has stayed the same. So do you see much change around the area?
Well, yeah, there's been an awful lot of change. I mean, things like developments and people's homes have become like mansion, like just people's perspectives, people's what they place importance on has maybe changed, and maybe not necessarily for the better. So it's more about how much we can have, how much we can own, how much money we have, and almost the status of grand houses and fancy cars, and the wilderness seems to have decreased quite a bit. And so there's this sense that children don't have the same amount of free play area or playtime. I mean, when we were kids, we'd run through the fields all around the house.
Yeah.
I suppose it would depend on the farmers, and obviously you take care of the cows and the bulls, and you'd know when to respect the animals and stay away.
Yeah.
But you kind of had the run of the hills.
Yeah.
And there's more freedom, so your parents are less risk averse maybe than people would be nowadays. Or you can't let the kids just go running wild through the fields.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Surely we should be allowing them to climb the trees and run through the fields and disappear out of our sight for
hours,
for as long as they need to. But trust their instincts, trust their judgment.
Yeah.
I think often kids are plonked in front of TVs or screens.
Yeah.
And we forget ourselves because our own heads are buried in our screens.
Yeah.
Forget to get them outside, forget to show them what's out there and what's important. And when they're out, they just blossom. They become different creatures altogether. They're enthralled. Their eyes light up. It's like they've discovered a whole new land, and they're full of joy. So I don't know. There's obviously, with the likes of Dalradian coming in and then the mining and lots of push for making the most of the land and taking from the land or extracting as much as we can to make money out of it without seeing the value of what is actually already there. And
do you feel that hangs over your heads? Like, would you have felt that as a child hanging over your head? And do you feel it hangs over your head now?
I have very distinct memories of, I was always a very sensitive, deep thinking little thing, probably much like my eldest would be. Where I remember going to bed at night, and I suppose when in the 90s, when you were told about climate change,
yeah,
you'd mull it over in your head as any child would. You're like, they're sponges, and you take it in and you go, gosh, what's happening with the world? What do we need to do to look after this? Because it was really important. It was so obvious to me, even as a child, how important the landscape was around me and how precious everything was. I mean, I'd take my toys and I'd play in the streams and the shucks, the ditches, and in the wee mossy banks at the side of the road. That was my play space. Yeah. So it was so important to me that those were looked after and preserved. We would have been in the river, the Owen, seeing the freshwater pearl mussels, would have known about them from our childhoods. And, you'd see herons, you'd see otters, you'd see fish. And I would have worried a lot as a child. I had mild eco-anxiety, but growing up, that's just, I suppose, exploded. It's massively exacerbated. So as I've gotten older, that fear, that worry of what's happening and the lack of respect and care and deep understanding and kind of connection with the environment, with nature, with ourselves, it really would concern me. It would have caused me to think, right, what can I do? What can I actually do that's going to have some sort of positive impact on people around me, on my surroundings, in trying to protect nature? And yes, I can protest, and I can write emails, and I can, do some environmental art posters. They're all excellent ways to kind of
raise awareness.
Yeah, raise awareness and try and help protect things. But I wanted to do something a bit more, actual feel. I can't think of it.
Tangible, maybe. No?
Yeah, just something that I could be physically part of. That I can use my skills and my experience to have some sort of impact. And so I trained as a teacher, design, technology and art. And when I lived in Yorkshire, became a Duke of Edinburgh leader. So had taken expeditions over the Yorkshire Dales and had done lots of bushcraft and outdoor activities, and campcraft. I'm really into my cycling and camping. I've done loads of cycle touring. And so I thought, well, I love camping. I love being outside. I like, carving things out of wood, using knives and tools. And my dad's a carpenter, so I would have grown up surrounded by tools. And I'm creative. I love making fires. I love sitting around the fire with my family and friends and singing and telling stories. And then met two really inspirational people who are very good friends of mine now. Just after 2010, would have bumped into one of my husband's friends, and she had started up a forest school in the northeast in England, and just outside Newcastle. Yeah. And it was kind of really eye-opening for me to see that. She had a very young child at the time, and she'd started up this forest school. I thought, that's what I want to do. Yeah. That's incredible. That's inspirational. That's the way schooling and teaching should be. This is amazing. Yeah. So it was kind of a revelation to me. And now Sophie has got a forest school called Stomping Grounds in the northeast, and she's won awards for being inclusive and a safe space for anyone with additional needs and neurodivergence. And it's just the most welcome and most amazing setup. It's a charity, registered charity. Yeah. But yeah, they really focus on alternative education and getting kids out of classrooms into nature, appreciating what's around them, and then in return protecting it, respecting it, protecting it, and looking after it for future generations. Just kind of life-changing workshops and things. And then another friend who lived in New Zealand, who we lived with for over a month, he lives off grid and had built his own tiny home, kind of underground yurt. And every day we would wake up, get the kindling, light a fire in the little fire pit, and we get the water boiling for making some tea. We'd forage our plants for tea. And it was just this, what is this world? What is this where you live every day? And so after a week, it became kind of routine. And after a couple of weeks, I want to live like this. This is incredible. So we were outdoors, swimming in the rivers and lakes, washing in the rivers and lakes, composting toilet, had a fire pit. We cooked our food, breakfast, lunch and dinners there. It was just, this is immense. And then he homeschooled his own little boy. And then started up his own bush school just down the road from there, and had all the local kids coming along, and just, it was idyllic. Okay. So it sounds, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, does it sound a bit trite? It sounds a bit like a dream world, but in my mind, to give children, or to offer children, families, the opportunity to have their kids outdoors. I mean, alongside school. But outdoors, to properly really learn and immerse themselves in nature, and to connect with the land, and to understand our backgrounds and our culture and our heritage. I just think it's just so very powerful and really, really important. And otherwise, we're not going to get them to be, protectors or guardians of the land for the future. They just need to, they need to sense that connection to truly respect it and truly look after what we have.
That's right. Because we are so disconnected, and if you're not connected in the first place, how can you begin to appreciate it and look after it and understand the value of it? So getting that early in childhood it's like getting it in your mother's milk. This is how it is, and it wouldn't occur to you to treat the land or the earth any differently. However, us as human beings, we've got away from that. And the more we live in our castles, and the more disconnected, the more we spend time online, the more we've created a disconnect. Some of us may never find our way back to that. Moving on. So then you set up your Sperrin Forest School. And where do you do that? And, tell us a little bit about it.
So Sperrin Soul is the name of my forest school and bushcraft and nature connection setup. I suppose after lockdown, I had spent an awful lot of time with the two kids. I mean, initially I found it quite intense. It was more just feeling that little bit of isolation again. But after a while we got into a rhythm, and thankfully I was really blessed. We have an acre of land in front of our house. We're in a field. So we had set up a playhouse and a mud kitchen, and had all the space for the kids to run around in the big field. And I mean, the Gorty Blends a stone throw away, so we had them in there plenty. But they were still young, so they weren't at school. They were actually of school age. So we had no homeschooling to do, apart from just having two wild little preschoolers running around the field and having the time of their lives. And at that point I thought, well, I was just back from maternity leave. I was working in a school. And I thought, I need to be outside more. This is doing my mental health a world of good. This is, I mean, I love gardening. I love being outside. I love having my hands in the muck and play. And I have had that link with both Sophie and Rob from the forest school setups, and thought, I'm going to see where I can go or what I can do to do forest school myself. I did a few internet searches and came across the Irish Forest School Association that were having an annual gathering in Tana in Monaghan. And they're like, you're welcome to come along even if you're not a forest school provider. I thought, well, or trained forest school leader. I thought, I want to do that. I mean, it sounds mad, but not. I just booked a ticket. I went away for the weekend. And knew nobody there. Well, there was possibly a girl online who had been talking to through the Wild Women of the north of Northern Ireland, and thought, well, do you know what, I'm going to just go. I'm going to meet this girl, and I don't know anybody else there, but we'll just see how we go. And I made so many connections and people. I had the most incredible weekend. this is my tribe. These are the people I need to be associated with and linked with. And this is what I want to do. And so from that point then, I was kind of looking into different courses for training and doing different bits and bobs myself. And I think I was slightly after that, saw an advertisement for forest school training that it just started, was it in 2023? So it was a wee while after that, but I had kind of kept my eyes open, and it was in Galway. I thought, or Galway or Kildare. And I thought, oh, I love Galway. And I could only train in the north for NIFSA if I was associated with a primary school or a secondary school, or, you know, in some way connected to education systems, because the way the forest school in the north works is that they train teachers who are already established in the school, and it's the school that becomes the forest school. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a really beneficial, brilliant model, but it's more outdoor education. So you're in the classroom outdoors, especially, and it's associated with the school itself. Whereas I want it to be an individual, independent, setting up and bringing them into the actual woods to not be part of the curriculum per se. And went down to Galway and met the most wonderful bunch of people, and we had several weekends of training, and then there was courses after that as well, but lots of online training. And I did my course and just got my qualification there in January, fully qualified. Got my distinction in my forest school leader program, so over the moon with that. But just made the most beautiful connections, and since then I've been to a good few gatherings, annual gatherings, and they have autumn gatherings too, which I am now going to do a wee plug. I have offered to do the regional gathering, the autumn regional gathering for Ulster, for the northern counties, and for Monaghan, Cowan, and Donegal, but they also have a crossover with Donegal. But that's happening on the 26th of October. In Colleen Woodland, just next to the Gortin Glens. So if anybody's interested in that.
So how would they find out about that if they wanted to?
Well, it's advertised all night. It's advertised.
Is there a website?
There's the Irish Forest School Association website.
I'll maybe get that off you afterwards and put it in the show notes. It's it's wonderful. But so that was my kind of lead into forest school established. And have you started?
I've started, yes. I started as of last year, really, whilst I was still doing my training. I did a day at Stendhal Festival. Did forest school activities for kids in the woods there. And then I did summer schemes in Gortin. Community centre. I've done a little pilot then with the wee Gortin primary schools, which was absolutely gorgeous this time last year. And then I was doing my part-time teaching along with that, so it kind of it was a little bit piecemeal. But as of this September, I've taken a teaching career break, completely, fully launched myself into establishing this forest school and hopefully making it work and getting it off the ground. And there's a few events coming up, stuff at Dava Forest, and I've got my Halloween gathering, Halloween camp, and we're doing weekly sessions now for anyone who's interested. After school sessions and homeschool sessions and parent and toddler groups. So it's coming together slowly but surely. It's a work in progress. Definitely a work in progress.
And where can we find out about what you're doing yourself? If people were listening to this podcast, I'd like the kids about that.
I've got a bit of a social presence on Facebook and on Instagram.
So we'll get those off as well.
And then my website is under construction at the minute. It's coming together, all coming together slowly but surely.
That's great. So would you describe yourself as a sort of peripatetic forest school? You move around the place, or are you based in one place?
You do move around, I mean, I have got in touch with a lot of the primary schools, and my intention is to work in primary schools as well during the day. So working with the schools and getting the kids out, but kind of using Colleen Woodland as my base for the time being. I've got an agreement with the Woodland Trust to make use of that space, and I've got all kind of signed off, and it's all above board. But as well as that, I mean, I've got things happening, like I said, at Dava Forest. Up at the Elm Park, and then I've done stuff at Gortin Community Centre. I've done stuff with the Greencastle summer scheme. And got them out up to Dunrua to the stone megalithic site just next to my home place. So that was incredible last summer. But just working with different, I would my dream is to work around the whole of the Sperrins in any spaces really, but
Okay.
preferably around woodlands and bogland sites where you can
Yeah.
get the kids on board and
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. That sounds great.
Yeah.
So any organisations listen to this, or if you have a spare bit of funding and you're looking to work with children, you know where to who to contact. Let's put that down now, and let's come back to the mine. So the proposed mine has caused divisions in many families across the community. And I know that's part of your own experience. What's it like to hold love for your family while also holding very different views about the land and its future?
So yeah, that's this is a really big one, and I know it's affected so many families in the local area. Where obviously Irish families, you've got potentially lots of children that grow up in the family, and for me, with our own family, there will be lots of different perspectives on it, but we were brought up, and I mean, I grew up in my mother's home place, where my grandparents worked the land, and there's still the potato ridges where my granddad would have planted the spuds, and the garden and the outhouses. It's all still there, and even the well up the mountain would be there, where the fresh water was piped down to the house, and we had a well in the field below us. And I know that that is instilled in all of my family members and my aunts and uncles. And when they get an opportunity, they kind of have this pilgrimage back to their home place. Yeah, I think is they've come in very, very cleverly, come in and just use that idea of they're trying to increase their social license by harassing the local community. To create divisions. So if they know that they've got someone who could potentially work for them or give them information that will help them advance their gains with extracting on the land, they will use that to their advantage. And similarly, if there's land that's owned by locals that they need to acquire in order to make their business profitable, they have a campaign of harassment and persistence that just it's from what I know of is just incessant. And so when you've got people who are going about their daily business and they've got their own family issues and there's already stresses there, and then you've got this unrelenting massive corporation who don't care about your own family strains or stresses, who will hit on weak points, so yeah, it's heartbreaking really. It's sad that they can do that and that they almost find the weak points and tap into them and keep tapping until they get cracks, and then they get what they want or think they get what they want. They get small parts of what they want. But I think as a whole, the families and the communities that live in the area are very much aware of their game, aware of their playbook, and would do everything they can in their power to raise awareness about it and to support others to kind of to stand up against it, to refuse to kind of crack under that pressure, because it is pure pressure. It's and also money sometimes is is rotten to the core. It can corrupt people, and so there's that element of, well, if I had that would sort out this and this, and they can almost tell themselves a story that eventually it'll all go back to the way it was, and it'll all be fine. And it's just a small part, a small moment in time that this is going to exist. And in future, the land will just heal itself over and it'll all be fine. And there won't be a massive gaping hole in the ground full of chemicals leaching into the rivers and the streams and into the oceans. You know, it'll have nothing to do with me. It's all going to be all healed over. There'll be a great big sticky plaster of grass growing over the top of the destroyed ground and no one will know about it. But that's not the reality. And the people that are kind of, I think, they're either disillusioned or they're duping themselves. They're almost telling themselves a tale that, you know, we're too small, we're too tiny to be able to fight against this faceless corporation. And what can I really do to have any impact or any sway on the matter? I may as well just bend to their will. But you could say the same for everything else that's going on in the world at the minute. You know, like one person standing up and shouting out will encourage someone else to join them and someone else to join them. And eventually you've got a great force for good and powerful community that says, this isn't going to happen in my name. This isn't wrong. We need to preserve this place for future generations. And yeah.
How do you navigate the tensions in your family or in your wider community, you personally?
I suppose anyone who has a different viewpoint to me, I try to understand. I try to find some sort of common ground with them to try and see where they're coming from or what makes them think in the way they do. And although I might disagree with their standpoint or their view or their decisions or their actions, still have to respect them for I don't know, other things in their life that maybe show me that they're still custodians of the land in other ways, that they can look after the environment. And then hope that in some way they'll change their perspective. They're not, like, I mean, it's in some ways it's too late when someone has already handed over land. And yeah, I don't know. It is tough. It's really tough. Kind of still be respectful towards people. But maybe there's something lost there. There's a real sadness.
Something broken.
Yeah, there's a sadness. There's a disappointment almost. There's a sense that, oh, but I thought you were the kind of person who perhaps, you know, were obsessed with the land and our culture and our heritage. And yet this thing has happened that would say different or would kind of show the opposite. But yeah, I try not to focus too much on that and try not to dwell on it too much and look at the other good in people and the things that people do that are actually helping to make a difference. Or
what do you think this tells us about the pressure that extractive industries put on rural communities, like from your own family perspective?
What about the pressure they put on us?
Yeah, what do you think it tells us about, you know, like...
Oh, they're so very clever. They know what they're doing. I mean, they know where the weak points are. They know how to divide and conquer, don't they? It's the classic playbook of a colonialist kind of mindset of, well, what we'll do is we'll come in, we'll pitch them against each other, and we'll find the people who we can gain from, pressurize them. And I mean, it's been happening in this country and community for centuries. It's the classic thing of get the ones who have the resources or kind of have ways to the resources and get their arms, twist them behind their backs and put them over a barrel and then take what we want.
Yeah.
It's very much.
Yeah.
It's it's been perpetuated from a long, long time ago. I think much has changed in that way. We just need to stand up against it and we should be aware of it by now. We should be more than aware of how it plays out, of what is happening. It's happening across the globe. We're not alone in it, alone in this fight against big corporations, unfortunately. And now it's coming in the way of not just mining and extracting minerals and metals. It's water. It's data centers. It's the next big thing of just extracting and ruining landscapes and ruining communities, and utter disregard for people's way of lives, utter disregard for nature and the natural landscape and our plants and our animals and our more than human kin. I mean, it's kind of devastating. But again, if you focus on the negatives and you don't throw yourself into trying to do something positive, then they get what they want and we lose everything. So we've got to fight against it. We've got to put something in place to give kids hope, give people hope, get people back into the land and caring for the land. I mean, someone that I'd really respect as well would be, is it Mary Reynolds? She has her acts of restorative kindness, her arc, and really would fight for the idea of being a guardian rather than a gardener, and then like looking after your wild spaces and looking after the places where your animals and your wildlife need to be. And that is just, I mean, year on year you see fewer and fewer spaces in the wild for animals, for our wild animals or wild kin to live. Even the hedgerows, the start of September, first weekend, back to school, out for the hedge cutters, trimming it right back to the bare bones. And all of those berries and all the bounty that's hanging off the hedges and wee places for the birds to take shelter, to forage. It's just wrecked. And then you have overwintering caterpillars and it just beggars belief that people are so disconnected and not clued in. That to tidy up everything around us and make it so neat and so perfect to the point that you've poisoned the land, you've cut the hedges back to the bare bone. There's nowhere for any of the wildlife to live. Like, what do you expect's going to happen? It just, you could really focus on all of the awful things, but I suppose trying to educate and trying to demonstrate there's another way forward is the only hope that we have, really, isn't it? To try and promote another way and to change yourself and to kind of, practice what you preach, to try and live that lifestyle.
So, come back to your forest school, you are absolutely planting seeds for the next generation. What kind of future do you hope your children and the children around Greencastle and across the Sperrins will inherit? All the children over here, actually. Let's not just talk about what do you hope for?
What I hope they inherit, a real sense of place. I mean, no better advocate for that than Magan, who sadly passed away a couple of days ago. And it's really, hit me to my core, but just that sense of a respect and a deep, deep, meaningful connection with your home place, with the land, with the traditions and cultures and the heritage of it, and being able to name the flora and fauna outside your front door. Being able to even experience them, never mind name them. I mean, to have birds, to have insects, to have all the wild plants around you that you can name in the first place, and it's not some sort of pristine golf course style landscape. It's devoid of life. So my hope is that my children will, and all of the kids that come through the woods with me, or young people that come through the woods with me, that they would feel empowered to share what they pick up, share their shared knowledge with others, to have it instilled deep within them that they are part of nature, that they belong to this place, and that it's up to them to protect it and to look after it and to preserve it for the future. That's my sincere hope.
And if you could share one message with other parents raising children in communities threatened by extractivism, what would it be?
To have faith and belief in yourself that you can be a force for good, that you can stand strong against a seemingly all-powerful, very moneyed corporation who are only out to line their own pockets, who are there because they want to take the good of the land and distribute it with shareholders who have no love for the land whatsoever. To hold on to that connection and love for your place, and to just shout it from the rooftops to share with other people that, you know, I don't know, I'm not quite sure what I'm saying here, Marella. But what I advise them,
maybe you've said it.
Just, yeah, to stand up strong and to show that your voice matters, that your actions count, that the land's important to you. That
Okay,
I don't know.
That's all right. You've already answered. I'll cry, but then get into action.
Get angry. Get very, very angry.
I always finish this podcast with two questions. One, is there anyone you would like to see here on this podcast speaking, and could you tell me who that is?
Okay, so someone that I think would have wonderful things to say on our sense of place and our heritage and our links to our ancestors is Lucy Verhagen of Wild Awake Ireland. And it was through Wild Awake Ireland and through the Forest School training that I did in Galway that I met this absolute powerhouse of a person. She's incredible. And she runs all sorts of nature connection and connection with the land program.
Okay.
Just a wonderful, wonderful person. But yeah.
Okay, I'll look her up and look out for her here sometime in the future. And then my last question for you today: what gives you hope, even when the challenges feel really heavy?
What gives me hope? Seeing the look on my children's faces, or on any young person that I've taken into the woods and shared some time with. Just finding some little plant or pointing at a bug, insect, mini beast, whatever it is, and just sitting quietly with them and just seeing the look of delight in their face, the kind of glimmer in their eyes of just awe and wonder, and knowing that has gone in there deeply somehow, and it's gonna come out in myriad ways with other people, and yeah, just that it's really impacted them. We sat in the glens on Thursday watching a red squirrel, and I had 4 kids on their knees on the ground with their wee hands out, just desperately wanting the squirrel to come up to them. And they sat so stone still, but just the look of wonderment in their eyes as we just watched the squirrel doing its thing, and it came so close.
Yeah,
it was gorgeous. It was
brilliant.
really, really, really wonderful. But yeah, just hopefully they will feel that real sense of connection with the land and a love for it, and have that desire to share that with their own children and future generations, and we'll protect and preserve what we have, because what we have is absolutely wonderful, and it's very quickly disappearing. We just need to protect what is left of our ancient woodlands and our wild places before there's nothing left of them. So, and our boglands, just all the precious land around us, it just needs looking after. And there is massive, we are making progress. There's definite progress. There's definitely an awakening. People are waking up. People are, I believe. I mean, that's my hope anyway. I do feel like the more people I meet, there's definitely more of an awareness. There's an awakening that we need to preserve what is here, what is left, before it's too late.
Yeah. Yeah, it's in the conversation, and normal life conversation, as opposed to being in an environmental conversation or being in an eco conversation.
Yeah,
but it's
you're not just an eco hippie.
That's right.
Type
Yeah, yeah.
You're someone who's seriously.
It's become mainstream.
Yeah.
And the quicker that happens, the better for us all.
Mm-hmm.
Emma, thank you so much for this conversation. I really appreciate the way you've shared from your heart about coming back home, about the real challenges that mining has brought up in your family and community, about your forest school. And it's not always easy to speak about these things, but you've done it with honesty and care. And I love how you're creating a space for children to grow up connected to nature. And I think that gives us hope to all of us living here.
Thank you so much, Marella. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
What a gift to hear from Emma Conway, someone who's planting seeds of care and courage right in the heart of the Sperrins. Through her work with the Forest School, she's reminding us that protecting this place isn't only about resistance, it's also about renewal. It's about helping the next generation to fall in love with the land, to feel belonging in their bones, and to grow up knowing that nature is not something apart from us, but part of who we are. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about Sperrin Soul Forest School, you'll find the links in our show notes. And if this conversation moved you, please share it. It's one of the simplest ways to keep these stories alive. For the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the soil we grow from, together we hold the line. You've been listening to the Save Our Sperrins podcast, Voices from the Frontline. Thank you for joining us today. All the links you'll need, from campaign updates to our social media pages, as well as links shared by today's guests and resources mentioned in the conversation, are available in the show notes. Please take a moment to share this podcast with friends, neighbours, or anyone who cares about protecting our land and communities. And don't forget to hit the follow button on your podcast platform. It really helps the algorithm spread these voices further. Together, our voices are stronger. Thanks for listening, and until next time, keep standing with the land, the water, the air, and the people who protect them.